Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos. Manchester United lose at home to Burnley by 2-0. Absolute embarrassment. Burnley's first win at Old Trafford since 1962. So that is around 58 years ago now. Also, I'm very infuriated, that yet again we've missed out on the chance to close the gap on that top four. Because we've had numerous opportunities this season to close the gap on that top four. And the only main explanation why we've been in that top four race is because, Chelsea have been so poor this season. It's now our third loss of 2020 in the Premier League. Lost to Arsenal on New Year's Day. Lost to Liverpool at the weekend. Now we've been embarrassed at home to Burnley. And I expected to see a reaction from the players from that 2-0 defeat to Liverpool. It has now been confirmed since Solskjaer got the job on a permanent basis back in March last year. He has now lost more Premier League games than he has won. So that's been confirmed. So we still remain 6 points behind top four. And, we have now lost 8 league games this season out of 23. But, the club is an absolute joke at the moment. Solskjaer had made 2 changes from the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool at the weekend. I thought first half, we had some pretty decent chances. I think Daniel James had a decent chance in the first half, saved. Martial missed his sitter. I thought Brandon Williams had an okay game, but I think prior to that, it was a very poor performance. Obviously, the goals, Burnley's. Chris Wood scored the first one. There's a lot of people saying, that Burnley's first goal shouldn't have gone in because Harry Maguire should have dealt with it, or perhaps maybe David De Gea should have saved it. And the second goal was from Jay Rodriguez, and to be fair, that was a very, very good goal. But in the second half, we created absolutely nothing. I can't understand why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had taken Brandon Williams off in the game, because I think Lingard and Luke Shaw came on, so I don't really understand that. But now, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club, definitely. We've got to get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to be sacked, but I'm still very sceptical he's going to be sacked at this moment in time, because our board are determined to back him in this January transfer window. They're also determined to back him in the summer. So I don't think we're going to sack him as yet. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should just do the right thing and resign as Manchester United manager. He should just come out and say, I'm a legend of this club. I love this club a lot, but I am not good enough to manage Manchester United. And I think if Solskjaer did that, he would get a lot of credibility. Rio Ferdinand, of course, gave his overarching view on the game on BT after the game, and he basically said, it is an embarrassment. The stadium was like empty by the 84th minute. It was empty by the 84th minute. But, I don't only think we need a change of management. We've also got to get the Glazers out of the football club. We've also got to get Ed Woodward out of the football club, because a lot of United fans have been protesting Ed Woodward and the Glazers. We've also got to get rid of our coaching staff, because Kieran McKenna's not good enough, Michael Carrick's not good enough, and Mike Phelan is not good enough. I think we've also got to get rid of our board, because our board have been a liability for several years. And I think what Man United need to do is, we need to recommend a new manager in, someone who can change the culture of the club, someone who can change the squad, because also there is a lot of deadwood at Manchester United, a lot of deadwood at Manchester United, and I think Solskjaer is still considering getting rid of more players this year. But I think we need to get rid of another 5, 6, maybe 7 more players this year. I think the problematic players at the football club are Phil Jones, one of the problematic players, Matic, one of the problematic players. I think the club also needs to get rid of Chong. The club also needs to get rid of Jesse Lingard. A lot of people are saying, we need to get rid of Luke Shaw. So there's plenty of players that still need to leave Manchester United. And, I've heard some people saying that, if we'd had Bruno Fernandes, yesterday in the game against Burnley, then maybe we would have got something. But we should have this deal now over the line for Bruno Fernandes, because, Man United have been relentlessly, linked with Bruno Fernandes. We have not yet come to an agreement on a fee with Sporting Lisbon. I think, now we're not willing to pay like over 40 odd million pounds for him. George Mendes has come out and, he said he's unsure if Bruno Fernandes is going to join Manchester United this month. He doesn't know, but he said he's very convinced that he will leave this year, so he'll leave in the summer if he doesn't leave in this January transfer window. So I just basically said, whatever Sporting Lisbon are demanding, we should just pay, because we're known for overpaying for players anyway. Obviously, prime example, £80 million for Maguire. He made quite a few individual mistakes yesterday. Obviously £50 million for Fred. Fred wasn't so bad yesterday. I would still be determined to give him more time at the club. 40 million for Matic, £89 million for Paul Pogba. So yeah, and we are known for overpaying for players. Sporting Lisbon made it clear. They made it clear that they wanted around €80 million, which equates to around 68 million in pounds sterling. And obviously, it says that the first we was not willing to pay more than 42 million up front. And our initial first bid was turned down because it says we put around 43 million pound bidding up front with around 25 million in add-ons, which would only be activated if like Man United won the Champions League or the Premier League, or Bruno Fernandes finished in the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or. But that's extremely unlikely to happen, innit? And then so it came out yesterday saying that, we could complete the signing of Bruno Fernandes by the end of the week. He says reportedly we've had breakthrough in negotiations because we have been locked in negotiations with Sporting Lisbon. And it said reportedly now we've upped our offer to £47 million up front with around 8 million in add-ons. So the deal is worth around £55 million basically. But Bruno Fernandes has already told Sporting Lisbon that he does want to leave. He played for Braga the other night. And obviously, after the game, I think Bruno Fernandes stormed down the tunnel. He had a dispute with a policeman. So that just indicates out that he doesn't want to be at Sporting Lisbon, Bruno Fernandes. We should have actually, got him at the beginning of the month, but I think also we should have got him last week and he should have been in the stands for the Liverpool game. But obviously, he wasn't in the stands for the Liverpool game because we didn't want to sign him before he played in that game against Benfica last Friday. And, that should have been his farewell appearance for Sporting Lisbon. But obviously we know that Bruno Fernandes isn't enough. We need more than Bruno Fernandes. I think, we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. And if we are, to be up there challenging for major honours, we've got to recruit the right calibre players into the club. And I think, we can still attract players to the elite level, even though we are so inconsistent and we've been so inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years. We can still attract players to the elite level because, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are the most successful team in England historically, reflects on the amount of silverware we've won, So I think we can still attract players to the elite level and that. And Bruno Fernandes' preference is a move to Man United. Last summer, I think his preference was a move to Tottenham because last summer Tottenham went in for him, Man City went in for him, and Liverpool went in for Bruno Fernandes. And the main explanation why we didn't get Bruno Fernandes last summer is because Sporting Lisbon said they wanted around £70 million. We only valued him at £50 million. So, and I think, it would be a great addition to the squad with Bruno Fernandes. He's predominantly an attacking midfielder. We are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. And he's only the age of 25. But I do believe now he has got the minerals to come and succeed in the Premier League. So I think if he comes to the Premier League, he can replicate what he's done in his couple of years in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon. And when he was younger, he spent the entirety of his career in Italy. Did Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, if it does go through this deal, it will be a straight cash deal. There'll be no swap deal, because there was talk saying that Sporting Lisbon wanted Marcus Rojo. There was also talk saying that Andres Pereira could go out on loan. But we need to get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. And if we do get him, I think it's the only signing that Manchester United are going to make in this January transfer window. We've got around, is it 8 or 9 days, to get this deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes. But I've been very infuriated with this. And our recruitment policy is also very, very poor. And it's been poor for the last 4 or 5 years. And don't forget, prior to this game against Burnley, Gary Neville came out and he was criticising Ed Woodward. And Gary Neville feels as though that Ed Woodward needs to get out of the football club. Obviously, reflecting on our poor recruitment. And Solskjaer, reacted to Gary Neville's comments. He says now is not the right time, to discuss the club's recruitment policy. Don't know where he got that from, Solskjaer. But he's aware, we need to address the deficiencies in the squad. But Solskjaer gave his overarching view on the game yesterday, and he said that, it wasn't good enough. So he's actually, taking full responsibility. And he said Burnley had taken their chances. But, obviously, we have got injuries. But, I think that team was good enough yesterday to overcome Burnley. We have obviously got Rashford injured. He's a big loss, he's Rashford, and I think he could be out for the remainder of the season now. I think he could be out for the rest of the season. Yeah, could Rashford. He has sustained a double fracture in his back. His injury is very severe. It's been revealed that Rashford could be out for up to at least 6 weeks. I think he's going to be out till April at least, is Rashford. Solskjaer revealed that this new injury that Rashford's got is totally comparison to the one that he had earlier on in the season. But now, reflecting on that bad injury to Rashford, I think Man United have got to get a striker. Solskjaer did say that we could delve into the current transfer market for short-term deals, reflecting on the injury to Rashford. But I think you can say Solskjaer's accountable for Rashford getting that injury, because people are saying that Solskjaer shouldn't have brought Rashford on in that game against Wolves. We shouldn't have brought him on. And even Ian Wright says, some of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Rashford's been one of our best players this season. He's been in scintillating form. He's scored goals. 19 goals in all competitions this season. 63 goals in for the senior squad since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. So he is a big miss. And where the goals now going to come from now that Rashford's not there? And this is the main explanation why Man United need a striker. Obviously, we've got Anthony Martial. He wasn't too good yesterday against Burnley. Had a big chance in the first half. I think in a lot of games this season he's done well as Anthony Martial, but I don't think he's nowhere near as good as Marcus Rashford this season. To be fair, I don't think Daniel James has done well in the last month or so. I think his performances have been below par. Don't get me wrong, I think prior to the bad run of form in the last month or so, I think he's done really, really well for the football club. But, we need to get a striker in. Obviously, we've still got no Pogba and McTominay, so you can say we are lacking creativeness in that midfield, and we do look very exposed in that midfield. Paul Pogba, of course, is out with an ankle injury. McTominay has damaged the ligaments in his knee. So that midfield is definitely one of the priority areas where Man United need to strengthen up, basically. I don't understand really why Bay didn't start yesterday instead of Phil Jones, because he could have played alongside Maguire yesterday, because Bay is now fully fit for Man United. He was out with an injury since pre-season, and obviously, Eric Bay is very injury prone. He was playing for the under-23s not too long ago. Also, Fosu Mensah's now back. I think Solskjaer views Fosu Mensah as a right-back because he played as a right-back for Holland when he was 19. Lindelof couldn't play yesterday because he had illness. So we did have some key players out, but it's not excusable. That team was good enough to beat Burnley. And I'm actually surprised because I thought, would have beaten Burnley. We beat them in the reverse fixture at Turf Moor by 2-0. We nullified them. We attacked them well. But we know, despite the fact that Burnley are a very poor team, we know that they're capable of doing things, definitely, in that. And Solskjaer, can understand, the frustration from the Manchester United fans. He can definitely understand it. So, like I revert back to what I said, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. Definitely, we need to see a variety of changes. But like I said, we are one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world. One of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got a fantastic fan base. We've got an ecstatic stadium. We've got a fantastic history behind us. But, it's going to take us several years to get us back to where we want to be. And, we're not going to win our 21st title under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I can definitely assure that. I think, he will leave Solskjaer. I think it won't be, though, until the end of the season. I don't see him going at this moment in time. But I think Solskjaer knows himself he isn't good enough for the Manchester United job. And I feel as though now he's had long enough at the football club. Solskjaer's now been at Manchester United for 13 months. He has been to the club now over a year. And he was saying before, on New Year's Day, this was prior to the Arsenal game, he says he expects Manchester United to have a successful 2020. So what he meant in that aspect is he expected us to enjoy a better year this year than what we saw last year. Because vast majority of last year was bad enough, to be fair. But he says he realises that he's got many expectations to exceed in his second year at the football club. Solskjaer's got 2.5 years left on his deal. He signed a 3-year deal when he got the job permanently back in March of last year, and he's on around £7.5 million a year. And I think that's one of the mistakes the football club did make, was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. We should have never done that. But he isn't the long-term solution for Manchester United. But I think Solskjaer's been permanent manager now for around 10 months. Obviously, my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well when he was the interim manager, did Solskjaer. The results were good. The performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players, and he exceeded expectations in that. And, I thought then he was the right, manager to elevate Manchester United forward. But Solskjaer's an upcoming manager. Solskjaer hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. He's not a manager. He's not a manager to the top level. Obviously, Man United is the third club he's managing so far in his managerial career. Obviously, before he was at Man United, he was at Mould, won a couple of Norwegian titles with them. And before he was at Mould, he was at Cardiff. He enjoyed a really short tenure with Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff. He only managed around 28 or was it 29 games. But the main factor reason why he got sacked from Cardiff is because he got Cardiff relegated and that. And we'll admire what Solskjaer has done for the football club, because like I've said on numerous videos, he was a great player for the football club. He enjoyed 11 years at Manchester United. But I just feel as though, as a manager, he's totally a comparison to how he was as a player, basically. And like I said, whether regardless who our manager is, whether it's Solskjaer or anybody else, I just don't see any of them invoking Ferguson's legacy at the club. Because Ferguson, is one of the greatest managers of all time. So I don't think we'll ever be the team that was under Ferguson. Obviously, when we recommended Alex Ferguson in back in 1984 from Aberdeen, we didn't win out. He didn't win out in his first 4 years. But look what he went and accomplished after not winning out after his first 4 years. We won 13 Premier Leagues in 21 years. We won the vast majority of our silverware under Alex Ferguson. He controlled the transfer policies. He controlled the contracts. He developed a lot of young players. And under Ferguson, that fear factor was there. That winning mentality was there. But since his retirement back in 2013, Manchester United have not been the same team whatsoever. One of the mistakes, obviously, Alex Ferguson ever made was recommended David Moyes in, because obviously, David Moyes was never the right man for the job, and he only enjoyed a short 10-month tenure at the club. But the main explanation why Ferguson recommended Moyes in is because they were both Scottish and all that. So basically, Solskjaer is the fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era. 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. And, we're not really known for the sacking football club, and always sacking managers persistently isn't always the right solution. But we don't only need to sack our manager, we need to there's a lot of things that need to change at the football club, like I mentioned earlier on in my video and that. Like I currently mentioned. But Solskjaer's definitely not going to last at Manchester United. I think the club need to recommend a manager in with a proven pedigree, and a manager, that would suit the strappings of the football club, basically. And, I think, Pochettino would be the right solution. But there again, we've already had 2 world-class managers in Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. And obviously, their tenures didn't work out. Louis van Gaal lasted like just over a year at the club. Obviously, Jose Mourinho enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at the football club. I give you the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho, because Jose Mourinho had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the top players. And obviously, the board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend in like the summer of 2018 and that. So these are the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho. But I feel as though now that Mourinho's finished at the top level anyway. But this is the worst I've known Manchester United ever been since I've been born. This is the worst. This is the worst I've ever known as being. In the Premier League era especially. I can't remember the 80s and that, but it's the worst I've ever known Manchester United being. We're worse now under Solskjaer than what was under Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. We're an absolute embarrassment of a football club, definitely. And, we're not in that commanding position that we should be in, reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club, because we spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in the last, 5 or 6 years or so. Not only that, we've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League, players on massive contracts, and it's an absolute joke of what position we're in for the size and the potential of this football club. So I think, we need to get Mauricio Pochettino in now. Recent reports are revealed saying that Man United are in talks with Mauricio Pochettino. Over him becoming our next manager. I think Pochettino is interested in taking over the Manchester United job. Obviously Pochettino came out, was it last week, and he said he's indicated out his next managerial job will either be in England or Spain. Don't forget, earlier on in the season, there was speculation about Pochettino going to Bayern Munich. There was also speculation about him going to Real Madrid. But he has been relentlessly linked with a managerial role at Manchester United. Now, Pochettino has demanded a few things. If he is to come in, he says, he wants to have control of transfers. He doesn't want Ed Woodward as a director of football. But I just don't see the club, getting rid of Ed Woodward at the moment. So this is what Pochettino has basically said. I think what the club should have done is we should have got Pochettino after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018. That's when we should have got him in. But, the main explanations why our preference was Solskjaer over Pochettino is because, Solskjaer did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Plus, we saw Solskjaer as a cheaper solution. He was a cheaper solution. And plus, Solskjaer knows the club well. In that aspect, Pochettino's comparison, because obviously Pochettino doesn't know the club as well as Solskjaer. But I still feel as though that we should have recommended Mauricio Pochettino in, because I think Pochettino is a total comparison manager to Solskjaer. He's a much better manager than Solskjaer. Hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but that's my own element of concern. But I think, Pochettino is good at developing young players. I think he would be trustworthy, to oversee our transfer business, definitely. He enjoyed a good 5.5 years with Tottenham, did Pochettino. He really, really did. I thought he also enjoyed a good short tenure with Southampton, and before that he was at Espanyol. So if we recommended him in now anywhere, we wouldn't have to pay anything in compensation to get Pochettino in. Pochettino, during his 5.5 years tenure with Tottenham, he won over 159 games for Tottenham. Well, sorry, it was 159 games. Out of 293 games, he managed in all competitions. I think he won around 113 in 202 games just in the Premier League. So I think Pochettino definitely would be the right manager for Manchester United. And, it got revealed the other week how much it would cost Man United to sack Solskjaer. I think we'd only have to pay around £5 million to get rid of him. So that's around £15 million less than what we paid to get rid of Mourinho, because we paid around £20 million to get rid of Mourinho. 8 or 9 million to get rid of Van Gaal, and around £5 or £6 million to get rid of David Moyes. So yeah, we need to get Solskjaer out of the job. We really do need to get him out and that. But we need to get him out. But we've had some okay results this season, to be fair. And like I've said, we've seemed to have done really, really well against elite opposition. We drew with Liverpool early on this season. We beat Chelsea at the beginning of the season 4-0. We beat Leicester 1-0. We beat Man City and Tottenham. And we beat Wolves in the FA Cup third round replay. So that proves that we can compete against elite opposition. But what we've done against elite opposition, we just can't replicate that against the lower opposition, and that's my concern. And there's there's also problems on the pitch because we're struggling to score goals, and a lot of aspects of our game have got to improve. And these players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United. I'd keep Rashford, I'd probably keep Martial, I'd keep McTominay because before he got injured, he was a revelation. I'd keep Fred. I'd probably still keep Lindelof at the club. But I think we need to get McClare out, and Solskjaer's aware that, we need to get McClare out at the football club. But, we need to get rid of the Glazers. They're the problem as well. And I think they've been owning the football club now for nearly 15 years. And, but, my element of concerns regarding Solskjaer is that, he has no plan A, he has no plan B. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. To me, we're a business, not a football club, because Ed Woodward doesn't give monkeys about the football club. So, yeah, and it just doesn't seem to have a clue, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The football's atrocious. There's some aspects of me, that do credit Solskjaer. Maybe he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players, and we have got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve. He was a great player for the club for 11 years, like I took into account. Maybe in some games this season he's tactically got it right, but prior to that, I just don't think he's the right manager for Manchester United. So we need to see a lot of changes at the football club, and we need to make signings in this January window. We've got so many players on our agenda, but we haven't got anyone on the board as yet. And I credit Solskjaer. I did recommend 3 good players to the squad last summer. Fair enough. But that's not enough. We didn't get anyone back in January 2019 either. So we've got to get signings are needed at the football club. Definitely signings are needed. And a lot of people feel as though that we haven't got the money, to get the, right players that we want in. So, but, if we get rid of players, we're going to generate money in that way. We get rid of Paul Pogba in the summer, we're going to probably generate around maybe 90 or 100 million pounds. We can still generate some money if we get rid of Phil Jones because he signed a new long-term contract last season. Matic, if we get rid of him this month, we may get something, but he'll probably leave at the end of the season because his current contract expires at the end of the season. We get rid of Jesse Lingard, I presume we'll get something for him. If we get rid of Jesse Lingard, I presume we'll get something for him. So we'll get rid of Luke Shaw, probably get something for him. So we also need to get rid of players at the football club. But this is not acceptable now. You've got Liverpool that are strides ahead of us at the moment. You've got Man City that are strides ahead of us. But, it's going to take us several years to emulate to their level. And, I hope it's not going to take us another 30 years to win another Premier League title like it's going to do with Liverpool. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So we haven't won it now for nearly 7 years. It is 7 years we haven't won the Premier League. And, I don't understand as well. Mason Greenwood should have started yesterday. He came on in the game, but he didn't start again. And he should have started with Rashford's absentee. He didn't start in the game against Liverpool on Sunday. So I can't really understand, Pereira should have been dropped and I think Greenwood should have started on the right. Or maybe he could have played in the middle of the park. Because I think Mason Greenwood's been a revelation this season. He scored 9 goals in 20-odd first-team appearances. And to be fair, I think he's one of the young upcoming players that's going to become a success at the football club. I've got the same perception on Williams because he's done really, really well. And none of the blame stems from Greenwood and Brandon Williams why we've been so inconsistent this season. Because it's their first season in the senior squad. Tuanzebe will do well. Obviously, he's injured at the moment, so too is Rojo. I forgot to mention Rojo. He's another player that needs to be moved on. I think he's got just under 2.5 years left on his contract. Realistically, should have joined Everton last summer, so we need to get rid of Marcus Rojo. I think Diego Dalot, he'll get more opportunities. Diego Dalot has, not really had opportunities because he's had a few injuries this season as Dalot. Bissaka, I think he's been a good signing for Man United. Wasn't too good yesterday, but he's still been a really, really good signing for the football club so far. So, yeah, like I said, a variety of changes are now needed at Manchester United. So that's your match reaction. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.